Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us on Gauntlet Interviews. Tonight we're going to have Azraels Bane from Houston, the great metal beast. Stay tuned.
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. So do you know guys from Love and War?
Yeah, man. John Adams.
Yeah.
I'm in a band with him. We share a rehearsal room with those guys.
You're not in Lights Out, are you?
Pardon me?
You're not in the band Lights Out, are you?
No, that's his UFO thing. No, me and him have it's an original project. It's like a southern rock thing, a side thing we both do.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us on Gauntlet Interviews. Tonight we're going to have Azraels Bane from Houston, the great metal beast. Stay tuned.
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. So do you know guys from Love and War?
Yeah, man. John Adams.
Yeah.
I'm in a band with him. We share a rehearsal room with those guys.
You're not in Lights Out, are you?
Pardon me?
You're not in the band Lights Out, are you?
No, that's his UFO thing. No, me and him have it's an original project. It's like a southern rock thing, a side thing we both do.
Oh, cool.
Him and his drummer, and me and my bass player from Bane, a little side thing we do. Been doing it for a few years. And he's a really close friend of mine. So John's a good guy, man.
Yeah, he is a really good guy. I've only just spoken to him on the phone, but when he told me he had a UFO cover band, I'm like, who in the hell's booking those guys? You know?
No, man, they do pretty well. They actually, I think it was last year, or maybe they might have done a couple times. Eddie Trunk's come down and done like a local club gig,
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
And they opened the show for him because I guess he's like a big, huge UFO fan. So
Yeah, he is.
They're doing okay with it. So having some fun.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I actually kind of thought I heard a little bit of a Schenker influence in some of your guitarists' pieces, but not all of them. Is that possible?
And my guitar players?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so, man. I mean, it is. It's probably accidental. I mean, both those guys are more 80s kind of guys than they are 70s guys.
Sure.
So they're both. Jeff's like a real. I mean, he comes from like Van Halen and
Sure.
George Lynch and those guys kind of school, which I'm sure they got some Schenker in them, So it's kind of by osmosis comes down the line. And Chuck's into like Randy Rhoads and then they're both really into prog stuff too, like Dream Theater and stuff like that. So.
Okay,
but,
so I got the Dream Theater for sure. And I'm not saying.
Yeah, well,
I'm not saying.
Queensryche and all that.
I totally got the Queensryche too. In fact, I thought that there was some Chris DeGarmo, the earlier guitarist from Queensryche, coming through. And you got a vocal styling that is like Dream Theater, but I'm not saying it's a ripoff. I'm just saying I was struggling with influences because you're kind of like a metal beast. There's a lot of diversity in there.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what we are. Is we're just like a blender, man. Of a whole bunch of different things. You just throw in a pot, and what comes out is what we are. It's kind of because we all come from real different places musically, into different stuff, and it's just it's just a mix of 5 real different personalities coming from different influences and all that. Just kind of throw in a blender, and it comes out like. So, but all of us have some common ground, I mean. I was a kid in the 80s, and I love bands like Queensryche and Maiden, and those same kind of bands, and so do all those guys. So, but we all come from, but then you go deeper with our own individual personal influences. It gets real disparate. It's like way different directions in some of that stuff. So, but it all comes together. It's kind of this band was not, unlike most bands I've been in, we didn't go into it with any kind of like a common idea of exactly what we wanted to sound like. We just started writing songs and just trying to see what we each did best, and then eventually just I think we came up with something that's kind of just us.
Definitely. And it looks like you got a good following too, or from what the press I could read beforehand. And some of the acts you supported. So.
Yeah, we've had a good run, man, for sure. Back in the early incarnation of the band, back in the early days in mid 2000s or so, from about 2002 to around '08, man, we were doing great. Things were rolling and doing really well. And this is like version 2.0 because we took about 5 years off, and are just now kind of getting rolling again. So, but it's kind of weird because we're coming back into the scene with the band, and people were like the old grandpa dudes coming back around, and we get a lot of respect and stuff from all these the newer locals and stuff that have been around for so long. But it's been cool, man. It's been a really good run, and I'm enjoying it.
That's awesome. And I see that. Okay, so the record that you're kind of on the promotional tour or promotional jaunt with, the junket, so to speak, that involves this interview and other things that your publicist is doing, is that a reissue?
Yes. Yeah. Well, it is. It's sort of. It's a reissue. But it's a reissue of our first album, coupled with our second one. The first album came out initially in, I believe it was '05. I think. 04, 05, something like that. There was two versions of that. I would put it out on our own back in, I think it was '04, and then we got a deal and put it out through them again, a reissue at that point, and I think it was '05. And then we did our second record, and we're getting ready to put it out in '08 when everything fell through with the record label we were on. They went under, so we're sitting there with a finished album and no distro or anything, and everybody, everybody got kind of bummed out about it, and it just kind of lost their motivation a little bit. And I just stuck it on a shelf, But we put it out there, we pressed them, but we never promoted it at all, And so there's some of them out there you can find that version of the original one on eBay and stuff if you look around, but there was never like a hard release for it. So this is really like the initial, real first release of that record. But we decided to press this thing as a double album with both records put together, just for the people that might have, already have both of them. And then included a couple of bonus tracks too.
And is that Modern Day Babylon then?
Yeah, correct.
The Modern Day Babylon is a double album. Is it including the original Modern Day Babylon and a second record? And Wings of Innocence. Yeah, okay, I got you.
Modern Day Babylon would be the second record, but this release we're doing right now, we're calling it Modern Day Babylon, but it's a double album that includes the first release, Wings of Innocence, and then it's got a couple of bonus tracks on it too.
Okay, I got it. And so I like
mastered them and all that as well. So
when is Modern Day Babylon coming out?
Well, it should be any day now. To be honest with you, man, I actually just got an email from the label yesterday saying that manufacturing had said there was an issue with something with the art that had to be fixed. So just a slight little tweak that has to be made from the graphic artist guy that we got to redo and send back in. But it should be just a matter of weeks, man. I mean, we've had a bunch of setbacks to keep pushing this thing back, but I don't know what the exact date is just because it's been pushed back due to. It should be. I'm going to guess at the latest the end of the month.
Okay. I understand that. And your story is not unlike a lot of bands out there. I mean, there's a shitload. Pardon my French. I forgot you had your son in the car there.
Oh, no, it's good. We're not on speaker. We're cool.
Okay, so of bands that have, these shelved albums from 8, 5, 6, 2008, 2005, 6, and there must have been an industry schism at that time or something because there was a huge washout with labels. I guess it must have been the year where digital music finally sort of overtook everything. But looking,
it very well could be because there was a huge change in the market at that point, so it changed everything. So yeah, I know a lot of labels were going under, but yeah, it sure happened to us, and it was disheartening and set us back a bunch. And that's when we decided to take a little break, take a step back. There was some other stuff going on too, just personal issues, family stuff.
Sure.
Some guys were getting married, some guys were getting divorced, stuff like that. But time flies, man. But
It does, doesn't
yeah,
it?
we can get back to it. So.
It's not slowing down either. Your album cover is very dramatic. I see the Statue of Liberty sort of mounting, but a countenance on her face looks like it might not be exactly as it is in New York. More of a, is it a sad look or a?
Yeah, that was supposed to represent. I guess we originally came up with that concept. The first track off that record, "Save Us All," is a song that's kind of written, inspired by 9/11 and all the stuff that's happened since then. And so the original concept for that the cover was based on pretty much that song, So and that's where the album title came from, is what, Modern Day Babylon. And there was an artist that, and forgive me for off the top of my head, I can't remember his name right now.
That's okay.
An artist that I'd seen some of his work on the net, a guy based in Germany, that he had a painting that he'd done. It kind of was similar to that thing you see in Planet of the Apes, where it's like the Statue of Liberty is just the hand with a torch coming out of the sand.
Oh yeah, that's the killer scene where Charlton Heston and what's her name are on and that the lady that didn't speak, and they come galloping up, and there it is, and you go, oh. I saw it originally, so I got the
He had
cliffhanger.
a painting of that, and I contacted him. I was like, man, I want that for my album cover. He's like, man, I'm sorry, it's already spoken for, but he goes, I'd be happy to do something original for you guys, come from a similar place. And I told him what what it's about. I sent him a copy of the record, and that's what he came up with. I think it's awesome. It's really cool. That's an extremely dramatic album cover, so I'm thrilled with it.
Yeah. And there's like a little it looks like there could be a spire or something in there, like a Tower of Babylon, or Babel actually. I mean not Babylon, but I noticed that Azrael, is it Azrael? Is that how you pronounce it?
It's Azrael.
Azrael is the angel of death, right?
Yeah, that is exactly. That's one of the interpretations. I mean, there's been, when we came up with that name, originally our bass player wanted to call us Azrael, based really on the character from the Batman comics, because he's a big comic book guy. But I thought, man, that's kind of cool, and I looked it up, did a little research and Googled, and found out. The first thing I found out was that there was already a band by that name, several of them actually. But the second thing I found out was all the mythology behind it, and there's a bunch, tons. And I just thought it was really interesting and, kind of unique and cool. And that's how, I don't even remember exactly how the Bane thing came up, but that's how it all came together. But, excuse me, if you Google Azrael, it's a pretty unique character in a mythology in a lot of different cultures, actually.
Yeah, and it changes. But most of the pictures I saw, a lot of cool old paintings from like medieval artists and stuff, and they always had a scythe in their hands, or a reaper.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the more popular definitions of it. I mean, there's all kind of stuff, man. And there's from what I understand, there was I believe it's in a Jewish tradition where originally he was just a leader of like a person, a man, and when they were in Babylon, they were like in slavery and stuff, similar to the Egypt story,
Right.
And he's the one who brought them all back to Israel, and as a person, just a leader, And then when he died, his name was Ezra, and when he died, they put the AL on the end of it, which I guess generally, at least in that tradition, is makes somebody like a saint, basically.
Okay.
And that's there's a whole bunch of crazy mythology behind the character, man. It's just it gets some really deep, way out there stuff, but and none of us are taking any of that all that seriously. It's just we're just a metal band with that was a cool name, but
Okay.
If it's something people think are interested, are interested in that kind of stuff, there's all kinds of crazy stuff about the character. It's pretty cool.
Sure. So you're not writing any concept albums about because you stick Bane after something, and that means the elimination of.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing about that is our bass player Brent March. He's been us to write a concept record about that story for years and years. So there's I'd say there's a distinct possibility that could happen someday.
Well, that's a powerful symbolism, and you could cross it across, make it current as well as historical or whatever,
Oh yeah, you could do so much crazy stuff with that. It's a wide open subject. So, and then when you write a concept record, I think it must. I've never done an entire one. I've written concept pieces where 3 or 4 songs tied together. But I think when you're writing an entire record like that, it's got to be really, really hard to stay focused on just a certain script or whatever. And for me, it would be. I have a hard time writing when you tell me it has to be about this, or that, or whatever. I kind of just write about whatever first thing that inspires me. So, I think if you're going to write a concept record, I think you'd have to go. At least me, anyway. You have to make it loose, kind of a loose thing, and then you put it together, and then you can tweak it to where it fits the story. But,
right. That's how a lot of. Yeah, like you could write about. You could take any piece of lyrics and tweak them into a storyline that pertains to what's going on now in the life of the inspired, as well as how it relates to what happened, the symbolism then or inside the fictitious story, whatever. But I'm like you. I mean, when you see part 3 on a records, you're like, oh God, help us. But
things get a little pretentious and out there, man.
You think, how could they possibly part 3 possibly be good? But okay, so I noticed you did a cover or a tribute to Diary of a Madman.
Yeah, we've got we got 2 of them on there. We've got Diary of a Madman, and we've got a Sabotage song, Edge of Thorns, on there. And basically, the story behind that is that both of those are just songs that we played live for many, many years. We always try to include 1 or 2 covers in our shows, just for fun, because the crowd seems to dig them. So I mean, we're not a cover band by any means at all, but
no.
We always just throw 1, maybe 2 in there.
Yeah,
both of those are songs that have been included in our sets for a long time, and both of them are songs that we think we do pretty decent interpretations of. So we thought it'd be fun to record them and put them out there so people could hear them.
Oh, it's absolutely your own. I can see that. I mean, I was listening to SATL, right? The intro, and I thought, okay, is he going to kick into an imitation of Ozzy? Because some bands do that, right? And no, it was just you. So, because you sing everything, right?
Yeah. Well, I say that. I mean, I do my own, all the lead vocals. I mean, our backing vocals are all the guys in the band. I mean, everybody in the band sings harmonies. So we do like, Jeff calls us, Chocolate Jeff calls us the heavy metal Eagles. Because we're like, everybody sings 5-part harmonies.
Yeah, it's very harmonious, and I didn't know it was 5-part, but that's pretty complicated, and it has a great sound.
Yeah, I think it comes up. We've been able to come up with this kind of layered thing that I think makes us a little bit unique, and it was because most bands that do a lot of harmony stuff in the studio, usually it's just the singer does his own stuff. It might be one other guy with them,
right?
Harmonize to himself, and then live, everybody's doing it or whatever. But
yeah,
I thought it would be really cool for us to have everybody actually do their own, like we do it live, because everybody in this band they can all really sing. I mean, I got probably 4 other guys in this band that are all capable of being lead singers in their own right. All of them, they can all sing really well. So, and their voices are so different and so cool that I just thought, I think it's important to kind of represent that on tape. When we make a record. So we've always done it that way. We do it in the studio basically exactly like we do it live.
That's neat. Yeah, a lot of bands with layering, even like Queensrÿche, for instance, who used to have massive layering, right?
Oh yeah.
They were all done by Jeff Tate, and then you turn around and see him in concert, and all the harmonies are on a loop, Like,
yeah, it's all the canned stuff.
Yeah.
And I there's a lot of bands that do that. I'm not too into that, man. I kind of think my take on it is I'm kind of an old school rock and roll guy, man. I want to see a band live, doing what they do live. I don't have a problem with going to the studio, pulling out every trick in the book, you know, at the studio, but go in there live, and whatever the audience hears needs to be what you're actually playing, you know, in my opinion. So that's how we do it anyway.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to bag on bands that don't do that. I mean, everybody's got their own way of doing it. For me personally, I'd much rather, you know, just do it legit, you know.
Okay. That's admirable. Nowadays, especially when there's the fear through the financial punishment of original musicians by the industry and free music, which I'm on a movement we're very strongly outspoken about and write articles about it all the time, to somehow figure out a way to give original artists more money. But that's a separate.
If you can figure it out, please let me know. You know, these days, yeah, man, it's tough. I mean, it's, you know, ever since downloading became such a thing, it's nobody makes any money from records anymore, man. Nothing. You know, it's just nothing, really nothing at all. It's just it's kind of a the only place you really get paid is off merch. So I mean, it's just a different paradigm these days, and everybody out there is struggling trying to figure out a way to do it. You know, but
well, I've got
you know, it'll happen.
I've got a couple of companies that have some bright minds working on a way to do this right now, and I've printed a couple articles about how they propose to do it, and I'm meeting with one actually tomorrow. We were supposed to talk today about it so we could do another story, but there's just some hope, because I wrote an article that said basically most club level to theater level musicians are operating below the poverty line, and you know, they have to have second jobs to make anything work, and they don't have, and there is no other art form, not even poets, that have to struggle like that, right? Painters, anything. If the popularity goes up, the amount of earnings they get goes up. Not the case with you have to jump all the way to the top of the heap. There's not a lot of room up there.
Right.
So you worry about, you know, computer generated pop music and that becoming the next thing. So I can appreciate doing it the old fashioned way. That's what I was trying to say in a roundabout way. Okay, so the song Carry On, or Jerry's song, I believe it's called. Yeah. Or is it Jeremy?
Jerry. It was Jerry.
Yeah, that brought tears to my eyes. It's a very moving song.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I'll tell you the story behind that song is while we were in the studio making that record, one of our guys on our crew, his name was Jerry, passed away in a tragic motorcycle accident, and it was just, you know, everybody was crushed, the whole band. You know, we're all just devastated. He was a very close friend to all of us, and I wrote that just kind of sitting around my living room with my acoustic guitar, just kind of working on some self-therapy stuff. You know, sometimes writing is a means of doing that, and I really didn't write it with any intention of doing anything with a band or anything, because it doesn't really sound much like an Azraels Bane song. You know, it's just it's a different vibe. But I was in the studio doing a vocal track, and I got done a little early, and I had my guitar in the car, and I told our engineer Greg, I said, hey man, I kind of like to just throw this on tape, just so I can have it and I can show it to the guys. And he's like, yeah, sure man, we got time. So I went out and grabbed my guitar, and we just set it up and just did it in one take live, you know, and just singing it with me playing and singing it, and then I just showed it to the guys, and you know, we actually ended up putting it on the record and dropped another song in favor of it just because the band loved it so much, and they thought it was a good tribute to Jerry and a good time to do it. So we went back in and tweaked it a little bit. We put some keyboards on it, and actually the engineer, co-producer on that thing, Greg Gill, is the guy who plays the solo on it. We thought it'd be cool for him to be a part of it, you know, just because he was real tight with Jerry as well. So the thing was kind of a collaborative deal, with, you know, with a lot of people just kind of throwing in and just to pay tribute to our friends. So
yeah.
And, you know, so if you listen to it in terms of the rest of the record, it's different sounding kind of song, but
yeah, absolutely.
you know, I think it does what it's supposed to do.
It does, yes. I mean, when you can move human beings to either tears or joy or any or adrenaline rush, which all of those emotions came through me on this record, and certainly the adrenaline part. I mean, there's a lot of positivity it seems like on here, as opposed to and maybe that's just my interpretation because of there's a lot more melody than a lot of the bands that I've reviewed because there's a lot of not so good bands out there. I'll say it that way.
Well, I think, I write most of our lyrics, not all of them, but most of them. But and I, the positivity thing is for me personally is I do that on purpose because I don't want to. I'm not into negative people and negative spaces and negative anything. I try to keep that out of my life as much as I can because it kind of sucks,
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to surround myself with positive people and positivity, as much as I can. So I try to be that kind of person. So I try to put that in my songwriting too. Now that's not to say that I don't write sad songs sometimes because sometimes you need those, But and sometimes I got some angry songs, but I do try to come to things as much as I can from a positive. A lot of our stuff, especially on the first record, a lot of it is comes from more of a hopeful place, And,
Yeah, very much.
on purpose,
Which is very
The second one is a little darker, just because some of the themes that we were writing about in there are a little darker. But yeah, I think for the most part, we kind of strive to do positive stuff. It's just when you listen to music, it's all about, generally speaking, it's all about just getting your in a certain headspace, where you're, it's about setting the mood or whatever, and so that's kind of, what I'm trying to do with our stuff, at least as much of it as I can personally control, is to try to set things in a positive direction. Because who wants to listen to something and get all bummed out?
Exactly. Yeah. Matter of fact, every spring and in between, I always get out my Boston records. And I had a thought during this that I thought, it doesn't sound necessarily like Tom Schultz is writing music here, but this certainly has that same kind of positivity in it, So that's cool.
Yeah, nobody's ever made that jump before, but I appreciate that, man. That's cool.
Yeah, well, yeah. No, I'm not saying you sound like like you could put this two side by side. I'm just saying the way you sort of the uplifting nature of it, the way it feels to your soul, sort of.
I completely understand where you're coming from.
Okay.
That's kind of what I was going for. So yeah, man. Thank you.
Cool. All right.
I will take that as a compliment.
All right. Well, what is? Let me ask you a couple left field questions here. Did you have a moment of truth? And I'm watching the clock. You got about. I'll leave you with about 10 minutes. Is that okay, or do you want 15?
Yeah, that's fine. It's cool.
Okay. Did you have a moment of truth record in your childhood when you said, you heard it and you went, okay, that's what I'm doing for my career. That's my life.
Wow, that's such a great question, man. Wow. I don't know if I can, because I don't know if it was just one. There's been several that have really floored me, during my youth and stuff. I think probably in my late teens, Operation Mindcrime just blew me away. Absolutely, completely blew me away. And I think that was about the time where I decided I wanted to sing. I've been playing guitar since I was probably 10 years old, but I didn't start singing until really my late teens, early 20s. So I think it was probably Mindcrime was the first metal record that really did that to me. There's been some other stuff by completely different genres that affected me a lot as a songwriter. I don't know if you're familiar with Steve Earle. But,
sure, blues.
Okay,
or kind of Austin blues.
And when I first heard the Hard Way record, I was absolutely just, holy shit, mesmerized by what that guy did. That song, Billy Austin, just wow. I was so completely awestruck by the songwriting on it,
Mm-hmm.
where the guy could come from with a lyric and what kind of the emotion that he could draw from the listener, and stuff like that. And I think that's the first record I ever heard that really struck me to how powerful songwriting could be, if it was done skillfully. And I think that's the first time I really thought that deeply about working
Wow. I lived in Austin, Texas for a while. Not that he lived there, but that was kind of the sound, in Austin.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In fact, Stevie Ray
Yeah.
Vaughan's from Austin, and they have a big memorial to him down there. But well, you're in Texas, you know that.
Oh yeah, it's right down the road from Austin.
Right down what you can go through LaGrange and College Station and get there, or you can go down 10 and up the other road. I can't remember. 35.
290. Yeah, 290 or I-10, one of two ways. So, but yeah, that's like 2 hour drive from here. It's not it's not bad at all. Yeah, Austin's cool, man. It's gotten kind of funky where it's gotten so pricey that it's a tough place to it's become like Hollywood, kind of a little bit. But
yeah, you got the catwalks and things like that.
Yeah, but it's still Austin's still just a great town. So get there every once in a while. I love that town.
Yeah, and I also lived in San Antonio, which is a great metal city.
Oh yeah, absolutely. San Antonio's been great to us.
Yeah. Okay, so Trey, let me ask you one last question. What do you think happens after you die?
Oh wow. Well,
do you have a theory? And if you don't, that's fine too.
No, I don't necessarily have a theory. I mean, I have a couple of ideas of what I'd like to happen. I think I'm like a lot of other people where I have no idea. I just
that's me too. Agnostic.
I read a book once. I don't even remember what the book was, but it was a fiction thing but it had a whole life after death. Just a theory in it, with the storyline in that book that I thought was pretty fascinating. I thought, man, that'd be really cool if that's how it really was. And it was a heaven and hell type concept, but the heaven was where you went when you'd done everything you needed to do, and you were in your life, and you were satisfied, I guess. And that's where you went just to kind of retire, And then hell's where you went when you weren't happy with where you were, or what you'd done.
Right.
It had more to do with personal feeling than it did with anything kind of like punishment or anything like that. And and there's also tied in with some with like reincarnation and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
You put the whole thing together, and I thought, man, that would be a really cool thing if that's how it actually was, because the whole idea of absolutes kind of freaks me out.
Yes, me too. Yeah, totally got it. Everything's relative.
If you die and you're just gone and that's over with and that's it, that freaks me out. Or just the absolutes of the Christian concept of heaven or hell, and there's no in between, freaks me out. It's kind of I'd like it to be a little bit more room in there for wiggle.
I'm like you. I'm like, it's all relative, man.
Yeah.
Everything is relative. I believe, But thank you for answering that really left field question.
Oh, no worries,
And
man.
your answer is not unlike most people's, to be honest with you. That is very cool the way you described it. And my idea is you get there and everyone that's come before you shouts surprise and says, "Wasn't that a mind screw down there, huh?"
That would be cool. That'd be pretty awesome.
No, something like that. But anyway, it's all good. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to let you get back to driving your son to his baseball tryouts. But before I go, I want to just announce to the fans back home that we're looking for an album from Azraels Bane at the end of January, possibly slipping into February. As soon as we get a launch date, we will let you know on thegauntlet.com, and I'll also post it on the page to the Azraels Bane page. But they'll probably be posting it before me. So,
we will let people know as soon as we know it. We had a couple little minor hiccups, man. But it'll be out there very soon.
Okay.
I just please let everybody know I'm so sorry about the delays, man. I really am. This thing was supposed to be out quite a while ago, but I promise it will be out soon.
It'll be worth the wait, folks. It's a great record. I've heard every song on it several times, and if you don't like it, then you just weren't meant to, because it's very good. Thank you so much, Trey, and thank you for squeezing me in a very inconvenient situation. You're a very good interviewer while driving. I couldn't do it. I'd be like I would have been in Galveston by now,
So thank you very much for having me, man. I appreciate it.
You bet. Take it. Have a good one.